Hi traders, welcome to the live webinar with Admiral Markets. Today's focus is part 2 of the UK general election webinar. We're going to focus on the results of of course, the election first of all, but also take a look at the political impact, the Brexit impact, and also the financial markets. We're going to dive into the political side first, then discuss the markets, which will be a bit later, maybe 20 minutes from now. Nenad is going to dive into the markets and take a look at what's going on with price and the pound. So different markets, of course, stock indices as well. First of all, though, be aware that this webinar is shown to a global audience, but may not be suitable for everyone. Please visit admiralmarketsglobal.com, select your country of residence, and contact the appropriate entity for more details. Also, please note that trading for exchange and global financial markets is considered high risk. Please seek the advice of an independent financial advisor for more information on that. This webinar is for informational and educational purposes only. By continuing watching this webinar, you agree with this disclaimer and you are aware of the risk involved in trading. All right, Nenad and myself, Chris, we're going to take a look at what happened last night. For more info, for more up-to-date information, you can always check out, first of all, though, our election hub, and we hope that you make it your election home. You can find out a lot of info by going to admiralmarkets.com, clicking on this link here at the top. You can see find everything you need to know. Just click on that, and you'll be brought to the page with stats, graphs, trading up, trading, how to open an account, and articles and webinars, as you know, because you're joining this live right now. So what happened last night? Hi, Marco. Good to see you. Pretty dramatic evening or night in many regards, and the world, UK, woke up to a different political landscape than I think many would have expected only 2 months ago. That's how quick things can shift and change. Quite stunning, and the headlines all pointed out to that shake and to that earthquake, as sometimes even mentioned. So, of course, a lot of news on TV, in the newspaper. Let's break it down. What happened? Why is it such a stunning result? Well, as you look on the left, you see the seats won. Most likely you are aware of the results, but just in case, you can see that the majority needed for a government that is not based on a coalition is 326 seats. Now the reason for that is there are simply 650 seats available. So half of that plus one is 326. Now, the Conservatives were, of course, leading the government until now. Then since 2010, since 2015, there was elections, and they had about, I think, a majority of, well, it wasn't a large majority. They were just a bit above that, in fact. It was not a solid majority. It was a majority, of course, but they were just a few seats above that. So we see that their kind of result has been worsened. They have gone down to 316 or 318, excuse me. Labour 261. They have improved by 31, as you can see in the left lower bottom. The Scottish Party has lost. Liberal Democrats have gained a few seats, and there are some others that have lost. If you look at it from region, you can see that Labour is more popular in Wales, in the north of the UK, or England, I should say, the north of UK. Scotland itself voted more for the Scottish Party, and in the south and center and also east, it is more in favor of Conservatives. Total number, though, 42.4 versus 40.1%. The difference is only 2%, a bit more than 2%, which is not a lot, but the way that the votes are counted is a bit different. They look per county, so if you lose one county by 51% to 49, basically, you lose all the, that is lost, that you don't have any advantage of those 49%. So that's basically kind of like mini battles within the entire country, ultimately giving you the end result like this. So what happened? Well, let's dive into some causes here quickly. I don't want to elaborate in very large detail here, but some of the things that occurred that kind of shifted the outcome compared to exit polls of a month, 2 months ago, substantially, because in those polls, it did seem pretty likely at that moment, 2 months ago, very likely, in fact, that conservatives would keep their majority, if not expand on it and grow. Even some accounts even saying that basically conservatives could have 100 surplus votes, going basically not the 326 that they needed, but even into the 400s. Obviously, that did not happen, but the exit polls were very positive at that time for the conservatives. So what changed in just those, let's say, 2 months? Well, first of all, a lot of young people voted for Labour. There's definitely a substantial uh, gap in voting preference and behavior between the older segment of the population and the younger segment. Young people voting a lot more for Labour. Brexit was less of an issue, I think. It's just was already a foregone fact that Brexit was going to occur. Now, maybe more of a question of how Brexit was going to take place. All right, so that was a factor. You can see, by the way, an image on the right, a map of the UK with blue indicating basically the change that had occurred, and you see where the Conservatives lost more seats and where they gained more seats. So the color difference is maybe could have been done a bit better, to be honest, because the right side of the spectrum, the dark blue, looks quite like the dark gray on the left. But in any case, um, more not so much gain here as you can see in the center around London. There's a lot of gray there around London there. You see that? In the north, some win, if I understand it correctly, in Scotland, though. All right. Now, other things to factor in. Here you see, by the way, the same graph, but then for Labour. So Labour making gains basically in the east, which was a surprise, making some gains in Wales as well, as you can see. Now, other things, of course, there were, as you might know, 2 terrorist attacks. So that was part of it, the security, how much police do you put on the streets. Labour, I think, wanted to actually have more, invest more in that in terms of police. Other things, of course, health and education. And there are some austerity measures, I think, that Theresa May, the Prime Minister of the Conservative Party, wanted to introduce, and not so popular ideas that saw some people therefore move to the Labour Party. So some national UK elements, of course, also started to take shape and influence not only Brexit, which is, of course, logical. So here we see the map. Left, we see basically the division. Left is showing blue, very strongly conservatives, across the board, across the UK, a lot of blue there. But in the heavy population areas, we see red, which is Labour. London, for instance, in the northwest, we see basically going to Labour. We see one green, 2 greens here, Liberal Democrats here, and the Liberal Democrats there. Of course, yellow indicating Scotland, and some Northern Ireland parties as well, smaller parties. But they could have an important role, and we're going to dive into that in just a second. Liberal Democrats also winning the islands here and the north of Scotland, by the way. So what happened? On the right, you see the changes. So not the left is showing who actually won. The right showed if there was any change compared to last time in 2015. So you only see a color if there's actual change. So if it's white and not no color visible, that means that there was the same. So interesting enough, you see Scotland turning blue in some areas, right? And orange, some change there. We see in the north some blue, but we see probably some important red zones here in the middle of and north of England. That did change. Otherwise, of course, Labour would not have seen its improved results. So how did we get here? Well, it was a bit of a gamble, as some media outlets have already mentioned, or a gambit, if you like chess. This is, in a way, a bit of ironic because David Cameron, of course, the Prime Minister from 2010 to 2016, made a similar gamble in the sense that Brexit referendum was announced. Despite the fact that he was not in favor of a Brexit, he still allowed for the referendum to occur without really opposing any kind of natural limits to such a referendum. It was a 50% plus one referendum, no minimum turnout as far as I know, nor any kind of minimum referendum target. That many have said that was a bit of a gamble. This was kind of a second gamble for conservatives in a way. What happened? So the goal for the Prime Minister was to increase the majority, to get more political space for the negotiations with the EU regarding the Brexit. Wanted a clear negotiation mandate, and there were strong polls. May was against such a renewed election, wanted to serve out the term to 2020, but changed her mind in April. Why and what kind of why she did that ultimately is difficult to say. Who maybe influenced that, who knows? But the decision was made, and the campaign, I think that probably was not a mistake, I would say. Of course, it's just my humble opinion. I think that there was some validity in that idea, in a strategy. But one could say that maybe the campaign was not approached with the best best strategy or best best plan. I don't think they're looking at the conservative bid during the elections. They did not seem to really steer the agenda as they would be beneficial for them. May avoiding some debates, the topics not going into the direction that I think that the conservatives wanted to see. So some excitement on the left for Corbyn, the leader of the Labour Party, May offering some less popular ideas. So and the polls started to sink. So it's kind of a dynamic started to take over that started to turn out very positive for Labour and not so positive for Conservatives. This kind of led to its own momentum in a way. May not getting the strong majority and in fact losing the majority outrightly. So not even having the majority from the aim for moving basically towards trying to get a strong majority, not even for moving from that aim to a situation where there is no majority at all. So that's quite dramatic. Now, of course, we shouldn't, I would say, that is dramatic, but then again, of course, we have to also realize that conservatives did win, did have the most seats. So that is, of course, something still to keep in mind. And it is so that the winner has the first attempt to find a coalition. What happens if there's no party hitting the 326 threshold? It means that there's a hung parliament. That means that not one party can take over or govern without a coalition. What happens? Well, there are a couple of scenarios we can discuss. First of all, the winner is the first one to attempt to find a coalition. We'll have to see if May stays. I think that she did have she's now talking to, I believe, the Queen at this very moment. I'm not sure if that is over as we speak. It seems that I'm reading a headline right now that May remains defiant. So no time to lose on Brexit negotiations. So it does not, May seems to kind of see a possibility to govern with a coalition government with a Northern Ireland party that has 10 seats. That would bring the Conservatives into a majority. Also, we have to realize that there are a couple of seats from a party in Northern Ireland, Sinn Féin, if I say it correctly, that will not take up their seats. So 7 of those means that there's less seats needed to gain a majority. So it seems like the Prime Minister is saying to form a new government. She promised, or she will try to form a new government, vows to do so, and deliver the will of the people with the Brexit. So that's the newest news right there. although some Brexit talks may be put on hold. So we'll have to see. So it looks like the first option is the most likely. Confidence to supply means that basically it is not an official coalition, but smaller parties will lend their kind of approval to decisions. If that were to fail, then the lower labor coalition could be sought, could be tried to get a coalition for labor. That would be very tough because even if you put together all the progressive parties, labor would not have enough seats to form a majority, so that would probably not work. Minority government with the conservatives is the last option, probably is possible, but often has not led to good results and often has led to new elections. This is the seventh time we've had or the UK has had a hung parliament: 1910, 1923, 1929, 1974. I'm missing one date here. Apologies for that. I think somewhere in the 30s. Or perhaps it's the sixth time. Maybe there's a small error there. Sorry for that. But in any case, quite rare, as you can see. 2010 was the last time, but obviously since the last 78 years, it has happened only now the third time. 2010, there was a coalition between the Conservatives and the Liberal Democrats, and the other times there was a minority government. Now, perhaps, again, looks like there is a chance that there will be a coalition, but not with the Liberal Democrats, but with a party from Northern Ireland. So those are the options, though. We'll have to see. May, for the moment, looking like she's going to stay and not go away. So, what can we read from this result? Well, definitely, as Nana has so nicely formulated in the blog today, which you can find on admiralmarkets.com, by the way, you can do that right here. This is the webinar, which you can find here, education webinars. But if you're looking for the blog, just go to analytics, click on Traders blog, and that will lead you to Nenet's blog. I definitely recommend that. admiralmarkets.com, right here. Take a look. And of course, next week we're going to have more analysis, more webinars. You can find it here, analytics. And very well formulated, basically saying that it's a cry out from at least part of the population, part of the West, for new ideas, maybe not the old-fashioned, old political establishment, but rather seeking kind of new, innovative directions and solutions on the left and the right? So we, of course, saw some political, let's say, direction towards the right in the US and UK recently, even in France, of course, with Le Pen in the final round. And now we see also some increase of the political power on the left with Bernie Sanders almost winning the primary, of course, last year, and now Labour getting more seats than expected. Things that could be behind this: wages, stagnation, globalization, all factors that play in and are kind of shaking things around a bit. So last but not least, and then I'm going to hand it over to Ned. I know that everyone's looking forward, most of all, to take a look at the markets, of course. So we're going to do that in just a second. Hold on for one more slide where we take a look at the impact on Brexit itself, because ultimately the EU and UK talks about the Brexit are already complicated enough. This, of course, does add an extra dimension, but it depends. We'll have to see how complicated it gets. Maybe it's not as complicated as it seems. If indeed May perhaps stays, as it seems now, means there's no leadership battle within the Conservatives. That will, of course, save time for this process to start with the UK, between the UK and the EU. So if May stays, that makes things a bit quicker. Of course, if the Conservatives manage to find a coalition partner and form a coalition, then things might not be stalled as much. But for the moment, it is not as straightforward, let's say, as expected 1 or 2 months ago, where Conservatives were expected to gain an outright majority. That has not happened. So there is a bit of a kink in the cable for the moment. we'll have to see how that how that gets straightened out, if at all. But it does look so for the moment. One thing, though, would be interesting to see is how the election result will impact the negotiation position of the UK versus the EU. What are they going to aim for? What kind of mandate is this for the negotiations from the UK perspective? How will they try to walk this tightrope? It is, I think, very difficult to really guess or know what direction the UK should aim for based on all these elections we've had, all the referendums we have. The Brexit seems clear, but how and in which way? That seems more of a question mark at this moment, I think, than anything else. It's a tough one, I think, to answer for anyone involved on the UK side. I think that's going to be difficult and very interesting piece of the puzzle, that important piece of the puzzle that's going to, be answered a while from now. It's going to take some time, but sooner or later these negotiations will start, and I think that the EU already is trying to kind of show their interest in, or not interest, but show their, how do you say it, their kind of anxiousness in a way, like, okay, we've had these results, what are we going to do now? What is the next step? So this is, for instance, the EU Commission President speaking out through Twitter, for instance, with this, as you can read here, message saying that we don't know when Brexit talks start. We know when they must end. So basically, like, let's not spill or waste too much time in this process. So let's see, putting a bit of time pressure here on that. All right, that's it, folks. I'm going to hand it over to Nenad right now.
Thanks, Chris. Excellent introduction. And I will proceed with the setup. So if you know, guys, if you followed yesterday, I was a bit active with showing different setups and possibilities that could arise from our from important elections that UK had, and it was again a bit shocking news. I mean, it was a surprise for the markets, but of course it was not as big surprise as it was for Brexit. So at this point, I'm still seeing a lot of different trading opportunities, but definitely we have a lot of retail gaps that are showing on our charts, and we definitely should be careful in trading. Not today. Today it's Friday, so it's normal that price is a bit nervous and the price is going up and down. But we should be definitely careful with trading heavy volume, simply because there are still gaps that could be closed a bit soon. You can see that counter correlation exists between pound yen and pound dollar. And if you read my article that I published today, it's very important that you understand why, in my opinion, the pound yen or the yen is very, very, very important to trade and to focus. Especially if you are intraday traders, you might really like how pound yen performs. I mean, I like it much more than pound dollar. First, let me clear with pound yen, then I will move to pound dollar. Technically, we still have an underlying bullish trend on pound yen. Now, why is the pound yen important? The thing is that yen is connected to equities. If you follow my work, you know that I always speak and I always emphasize the importance of yen as it follows equities. So the thing is that Japanese, they do massive carry trades, and they are borrowing for cheap and investing abroad in other markets just for their returns during the risk on sentiment. And during risk-off environments, various environments, usually stock markets they start to drop, and as soon as they start to drop, Japanese want to sell their risky assets abroad and return their foreign money into the Japanese yen. That's called repatriation. So they basically create demand and strength in the Japanese yen. But they also pay off their Japanese loans. So this has an effect of reducing the money supply or of Japanese yen. So it will cause further appreciation in the Japanese yen. Japanese yen is very volatile. It's much more volatile than a lot of other currencies here in the market. And due to its volatility, I really prefer to trade it. Honestly, I had some nice scalps on Japanese yen during this UK elections. But also, I had a very interesting scalp on dollar yen too, because dollar yen is now a bit overbought. And if it doesn't reject at this point, at least we could see some correction, possibly during next week or at the beginning of next week. Today, as I say, it's a bit, it's not very grateful to make any big trades, simply because first we see gaps, then it's Friday. A lot of people were trying to trade. I guess that a lot of traders are also trapped in their positions, and there could be some covering between the various traders and investors, and we might see a two-way price action. So first for pound yen, I think that if we see a close of the gap, we have a lot of resistance here, as I already explained in my article. If we see the close of the gap, I think this will go again to the downside. Trend is bullish if you watch these ups and downs, and still if you draw a Fibonacci, you will see that it coincides with important Fibonacci numbers. Here it's 61.8. So it's still bullish. But have in mind that if this starts to reject from this spot again, I will change the bias for pound yen, and I think that it should drop. So we still need to see whether the gap will be closed. It's my advice is don't trade pound yen now. It's not. It's in the no man's land. You don't trade when the price is in no man's land. You need to understand that price is always subject to the change, especially today. It's Friday. So this is in the middle of nowhere. It's sitting exactly at WL4 weekly pivot, monthly L3 pivot. So I wouldn't be surprised if it doesn't close the gap and starts breaking the downside. So what would you do then? You would definitely go with the breakout. I mean, not you, but I would definitely go with the breakout of this double bottom, because the double bottom, as soon as the double bottom is broken to the downside, we should see some heavy sell-off towards lower targets. So what I would do with pound yen is I would either wait for the pound yen to close the gap, then it will be in our POC zone, that is 142.50 to 25. So this will be resistance. Stop should be placed here, and then we could go down. But at this point, you see it's going up and down. It's been bought today. It's normal because the price is trying to correct. And also there are some rumors that Prime Minister May, she will form a government with DUP. So it's a bit, equities always react to positive news, and pound yen is following the equities. So what I think is this could close the gap, then start a down move, but I won't touch it unless it either closes the gap, gets into the POC zone, or it breaks this double bottom. I will be shorting this double bottom breakout in a form of a scalp trade, slightly leveraged, but we need to be Very, very careful. Yes, of course, could also give us some surprise gaps. So don't put any big positions at this point. Be careful, guys. You need to be patient. Don't chase the price. Dollar yen is at the POC zone now. Definitely POC 2. I'm favoring this zone, but now I really don't want to make any positions at this point. Although if this was normal market conditions, I would say I would go short here, definitely. But now at this point, I don't see that it's Friday. We need to wait for the price to close and to see if there will be any gaps in the market on Monday open. So that is what we need to see. This is the POC zone. So on normal market conditions, I think this could drop at least towards weekly L3. So I know, Marco, this is POC zone, but yet again, it's Friday. I don't want to be impatient. I will wait for a Friday open, and then I will see for the Monday open, and then I will see if there is gaps, some new gaps. If not, I think market will correct, and we could actually trade it. Okay, so this is pound yen. Now, pound dollar. Pound dollar is it has a more downside chance, more downside strength than pound yen. Pound dollar is bit. It has a bit of this gap down, and this gap has not been close to the close of this gap. So you see, it's still bit big, and this is what I see here. So this is a bit of gap, some 90 pips. So what we could see here, a possibility for a breakaway gap. If this is a breakaway gap, then we might expect price to further go down. Any close now in 4-hour time frame below this weekly L5 should suggest further drop towards possibly monthly L5 around 2608. And the only strong support that I see here below this monthly support is, of course, 25. As I said yesterday, you don't see the screen, sorry. As I said yesterday on my Twitter and Facebook page, I wouldn't have been surprised even if the price had gone to 25.20, because 25.20 zone is 25.20 to 25.00 is the zone where pound is supported. So we didn't see a big uh, that big of a drop. Of course, it was a big drop, but not that big of a drop. It was a drop of like 300 pips, but it wasn't a drop towards 25.20. So the only thing that I can see here is if the price, I mean, in 4-hour time frame, if 4-hour candle closes below WL5, that stands exactly at 27.18. If we see a 4-hour close below, then I think the price could drop towards monthly L5 2608 and possibly towards 25.20 during the next week. You need to be careful, and definitely you need to wait for a further price correction. You should not be impatient entering any trades. So my signal for a possible short trade or short trading opportunity would be 4-hour candle close below this L5, but I want to see clear close. I don't want to see a close where the close is exactly at WL5. It needs to be a nice candle close below WL5 that will be the sign of continuation. I don't want to see a hammer down and then close of a hammer at WL5. It needs to be a nice bearish candle below WL5. That will be the signal for a possible down move towards UK snap election low here and monthly L5 and possibly towards 25.13. There we could possibly see a buy trading opportunity. Okay. Another thing to notice is we need to be careful with let me find it, euro yen. Euro yen is not going to be very dangerous to trade, but you need to be careful simply because of yen strength. Now, if we see euro weakness and yen strength, euro dollar could also start to drop from this zone here. It's not very correlated to the move of pound yen or other yen currencies, because pound yen is more correlated to equities than euro yen. But pay attention to this confluence, 123.91. If the pair closes with a 4-hour candle above this level here, then easily we could see up move towards WH3. What is interesting for me is Euro GBP. If you followed my pre-election blog, Euro GBP is it behaved exactly as planned. So I said it may lost the elections, but actually this was a Pyrrhic victory. So she won the election, but it was a Pyrrhic victory. So this was like, we can treat this as a loss. Euro GBP would spike, and if you followed my pre-election blog, you would see that Euro GBP really spiked to the level that I predicted. What would I do here? I would buy Euro GBP on dips, but still, you see there is a gap. The price is in no man's land. This is a mini consolidation now going on here. If you place, this is a big candle. It can be a master candle. So you see, this is a bit of consolidation. So again, I'm teaching you how to protect your money. Don't jump into a freight train. Don't jump when the price is in the middle of nowhere. Wait for the price to correct. Then we could see a possible buy into the dip. Let's see what next week will give us. Yes, this is Euro GBP. And for me, this is buying into the dip. But yet again, I want to see next week's price action, because I think this could be, again, a runaway gap. If this is a runaway gap, this price could easily break to the upside, and then pound dollar would close here, breaking to the downside, and those poor souls, poor traders who have never listened to what I say, they would probably lose their account because they want to gamble. And now you have the opportunity to listen to Chris and me, and we always tell you from the trader's perspective, don't jump into the freight train. Yesterday, I did some trades, and I showed my dollar-yen scalp on Twitter. But the thing is, it was during the election, and I scalped 1 to 5 minute time frame. It's completely different form of trading than its positional trades. So for positional trades, you need to be careful. You cannot just go into the trade because you think something will happen. If you think something will happen, then think that you will lose. I'm telling you that. It's for sure. So be careful. Pound dollar is slightly better than pound yen or euro GBP to trade at the moment. So from trader's perspective, I would say probably if we see a nice bearish close below WL5, then the price could correct down, because this is negative. This will be, I'm not sure that even positive economic news for UK will have a good upside potential, just because Brexit is looming. We don't know what will happen with Brexit. Hard Brexit, soft Brexit. Article 50 has been enacted. There is a bit of uncertainty in the UK. People don't want the middle. Now we see a sentiment shift towards the left side. And if you read my blog today, please go ahead and read it. It should be interesting, and I really written it. I wrote it during the night and during the early morning. So the thing is, simply traders want to trade what they see, and we can always trade what the market throws at us. It's not a problem. We need to be patient. But from people's perspective, we see a sentiment change from the right-wing populists towards left-wingers. So obviously, people want to change. People want to see something new. People want to see some new ideas, new energy, right? So because of that, I still think that pound will be under the pressure. And yes, I think that pound dollar will be sold on rallies, and even it can be a runaway gap if this close, if we see a bearish close below WL5. Yes, Ilya, indeed. Selling on rallies seems likely, indeed. I don't want to trade the gap. Really, guys, I'm not sure that this is a common gap. To me, this looks like a potential breakaway gap. You see the completely the same price action, just to the opposite side of the GBP dollar and Euro GBP. GBP dollar has the same price candle structure. You see, this is very similar candle price structure than it is with Euro GBP. It's almost the same, just to the opposite side. It's like a mirror reflection. So basically, Euro GBP buying on dips, if it happens. If not, this will be a breakaway gap. Pound dollar selling on rallies. If not, this will be a breakaway gap, runaway gap. Pound yen, it's different because it has a yen as quoted currency. It could close the gap. Then I will go with shorting, but only if the gap closes. I'm not trading the gap. So if you ask me, should I go long? No. If you wanted to go long, you should have already gone long today after the formation of this double bottom, but not now. The price is too it's too much to the upside. It already went up. FTSE could possibly go with a drop. You see, it's being corrected. Okay, it's being corrected. As I say, I want to see close. I want to see daily close. I want to see what will be the price action during Monday. But it's different to GBP dollar because GBP is heavily to the downside. FTSE, it's an equity, and it's basically went up, and you see pound yen went up too. So yen pairs are moving with equity. So it's not the same as pound dollar. And DAX also, as I said, guys, if you read my pre-blog analysis, I said DAX, sorry, wait. Yes. I wanted to show you Nikkei also, but DAX is more important. Okay. If you follow the DAX, I said it will be probably bought on dips, and it happened. So just refer to my previous blog, pre-election blog, and you will see. So pretty much straightforward price action. I haven't been surprised with price action. Of course, totally much better ways to trade these UK elections than it was for Brexit. But everything that I predicted, it came through more or less. We could trade it, but people who actually trade indices, equities, they could go with the analysis that I published before the elections on Admiral Markets blog. So this is also, this looked like bit of pretty much it was technical trade. I would wait for Monday. The question, if the price closes with bearish candle below WL5, should we wait for Monday? Yes. Either way, I would wait for Monday because of possible gaps. What if we see some gap to the upside or something? So be patient. Don't chase the price. Ilya is asking, if GBP dollar remains to this price level till tonight, we will have a master candle on daily one. Yes, this would be a master candle on daily time frame, indeed. But you need to know, Ilya, for a master candle to be confirmed, you need to have 4 consecutive closes after the master candle. Daily time frame is a bit long. So if this closes like this, next 4 days, if the high or low are not broken, they will confirm the master candle. But of course, I don't trade master candle on dailies. I never trade daily charts. I only look at them, but I trade intraday charts. I am a bit of action price. I like action. I have the time to trade the price, so I'm following it on 1 hour time frame. And that is what I also use for trading master candle. Sometimes master candle can be traded, of course, on 4 hour time frame. My expert advisors showed very good results on 4 hour. But if you want action, go to 1 hour. If we see 4 consecutive closes into the body, into the range of this, candle, then this would be a master candle, yes. I don't care about 1 hour direction until I see either 4-hour close below L5 or a gap close here. So I will be very patient. I don't have problem with being patient. I have learned it during my trading career. I'm not chasing the price. I just want to trade when I have the opportunity, not when the market thinks that I have the opportunity. It's difference between traders who want to chase the price and who are patient. Patient traders always wait for the right moment, and impatient traders wait for the market to tell them to enter the price, and then what happens? They lose. We always need to include our common sense. That is very important. Include your common sense. That is very important. You see that the price is directionless at this point, and we don't have any clue where the price will go at this point. So that is why I'm saying we need to wait for the Friday close. Friday is profit-taking day. Friday should never be taken seriously for technical trading because Friday is strictly profit-taking day. That is why we wait for Monday. That is why we wait for the price to develop. And that is why we need to be patient with entering the trades, not on Friday, but rather on Monday. If you want to trade on Friday, only scalps are allowed. But that is not positional trading. Scalping is something different. So guys, this was my opinion. I hope that you enjoyed. And Chris also gave his opinion about the political sense of this election. But the main thing is now whether the government will be formed, who will form the new government, what will happen with the general sentiment between UK people, what about Scotland? You know, there are still a lot of questions looming over the UK. It's called United Kingdom. It's not England. It's United Kingdom. That is why other countries within the UK also have the right for their own opinion. And as I say, especially Scots. So we will see how this will turn up. But I'm really concerned that really not concerned that we will have a lot of good trading opportunities with the pound. Here, how to trade the Snap UK election. If you follow this, you see basically this was it on FTSE, on the DAX, on Euro GBP. So a lot of things, and this range, a hung parliament. This is the option, basically. And you look what I said, Euro GBP up on a hung parliament, and that kept it basically. And this was my opinion. Yeah, last time basically I thought that Trump would lose with a few points, and now I got it correctly. I thought really that this would have been a hung parliament, so it looks like it. But I'm glad that the price actually followed what I said here, and it followed completely the elections. There were no surprises, in my opinion, regarding the price. So sign up for more live webinars on Monday. We will have recap, and we will know then what to do. At this point, this looks like it, but as I say, be patient and wait for the proper setup. As for me, I will be shorting GBP dollar rallies and GBP yen rallies in the near future. Thanks for all. Thanks for all comments. Thank you for listening, and hope to see you next week. Have a great week ahead. Cheers. Always trade safe.